What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ask Sir Love. And on this episode, I like to answer questions that you all leave for me. So let's take a look at the question that I'm going to be speaking to today. I had a question come in. It wasn't on this tab. It was right here. Fame is permanent, money is temporary. That was good. That was an interesting conversation. We're not going to talk about that today, but we're going to talk about this message from Ja Warrior. Greetings, Sir Love. I'm trying to figure out what are the steps, or what are all the steps necessary to take to secure/own your masters? What are all the documents required to sign, etc.? Can you help me? All right, so let's talk about it. So in order to answer this question, it depends on a lot of different things. It's going to first off depend on what's going on in your career, in the situation. Are you signed already? If you're signed already, it's a completely different conversation than if you're not. A lot of people that are reaching out on the platform, on the show, they are not signed. So let's have the conversation as if you are not signed. So if you're not signed, what you want to do is make sure that you, pay for your own studio time. You don't want to go anywhere borrowing studio time or anything of that nature, because whoever's paying for the studio times is owning the master. So make sure you're paying for your own studio time. Make sure you're keeping the session files after every session, and you have the session files logged away. You're saving them. You're backing them up to the cloud. You have them in a safe somewhere. Whatever it is, make sure you have the session files and that you have proof that you paid for the session. That way the engineer can't come back and say, I own the masters, all right? So that's the basic foundation of owning your masters. Next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have copyrighted the record. That's going to secure any type of legal ramification where someone can come in and say, because they own the sound recording copyright of it, that they may have some type of claim to your masters. So you want to make sure that you do that, right? So what does that mean? That means that you make sure that you go to the U.S. Copyright Office website, and you register your records and copyright those records. Not really registering, but it's copyrighting those records with the state, right, with the nation, to make sure that there's a record of history that you own the SR copyright. The SR copyright is the sound recording copyright. SR stands for sound recording, right? And so you want to own that copyright, and you want to own the session files, and you want to own the master file. The master file is the file that you exported from the final session, right? So at the end of the session, you exported a file, and that file is the file that you upload to Spotify, you upload to whatever streaming platform. It's the file for which all the slaves were made from. You have a master, you have a slave. The master is the final file, right? The completed version of the final file. The slave is every copy of the original. So if you had, back in the day when all these concepts were created, you may have, one tape, one reel, right? You have a reel of your record, and you would go and press that reel up on vinyl or make tapes or whatever it was that they were producing, whatever format they were producing, and every single iteration of that was a slave, right? And it'd be identified. You'd have a sound scan on it, and you'd be able to scan it and do all the other type of stuff, right? And track each individual copy to see how many copies you sold. And every copy, like, why do we call them a copy? We call them a copy is because we literally copied the original file, right? So when you look at records, I say sold X amount of copies of their song, or they sold X amount of records, right? That's where that language comes from. So if you want to own your masters, to make it short and sweet and wrap this whole thing up, you just want to make sure you're paying for your studio sessions. You want to make sure you're keeping your session files, and you want to make sure that you're submitting your SR copyrights. If you're doing that, it's going to be damn near impossible for someone to come along and take your masters from you or claim ownership over your masters unless you sign a document that's relinquishing 100% of your masters or a percentage of your masters to another entity. So that's the process for protecting yourself. It's not very hard. If you want more information about it, really go to the website, right? Go to the website, because right here on the website, I have a book all about this stuff that I put together, right? Get Paid from Music A to Z. It's a part 2, which is all about understanding your publishing and your royalties and ISRC codes and all those type of things. And part 1 talks all about copyrights. Go grab it, read it. I took language that's extremely complicated and legal, right, and turned it into everyday talk, like you're sitting on the couch talking to your boy. I intentionally made the language conversational so they can answer all these questions. And if you can read that, consume that, and follow the instructions, you're fine. No one should ever be able to take advantage of you. So with that said, I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little bit about a lot. And I'm always trying to give you guys everything that I got right here on Phase 6. You see what's going on down below. You're watching these videos. Pay your tuition. You're getting all this education. Pay your tuition. Send me a thank you. Go ahead and go to this website right here, get some information, and of course, download the business on that same website. I'm here, really excited and eager to help additional people become successful. There's been so many people that's been helped in the past. Why not add you to the list? We're back up and rolling this year, so let's do it. I'm out.